For decades, Turkey waited at Europe's doorstep, its people and leaders holding on to the hope that one day, the country would be welcomed as a full member of the European Union. The dream of joining the EU was not just about economic opportunity, but also about recognition, belonging, and a new chapter in Turkey's modern history. Since 1987, Turkey has formally sought EU membership, investing years in reforms, negotiations, and diplomatic overtures. Turkish officials attended countless summits, signed agreements, and made concessions, all in the hope of bridging the gap between Ankara and Brussels. But the doors to Brussels stayed closed, blocked by a complex web of political objections, cultural hesitation, and shifting priorities within the EU itself. Despite progress on some fronts, skepticism and resistance from key European capitals left Turkey in a perpetual waiting room. Disillusioned by years of stalled talks and unmet promises, Ankara began to rethink its alliances and reconsider its place in the global order. The sense of frustration grew, fueling debates within Turkey about whether the country should continue to look west or chart a new course. In 2023, President Erdogan's government signaled a dramatic shift in foreign policy. Instead of waiting for the EU's approval, Turkey would now pursue full BRICS membership, aligning itself with emerging powers like China, Russia, India, Brazil, and South Africa. Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan described this move as a pragmatic search for new economic and strategic partners. For Turkey, BRICS offers access to fast-growing markets, alternative sources of investment, and a seat at the table in shaping a new global order. As a NATO member, Turkey's bid to join BRICS is more than a diplomatic maneuver. It's a bold challenge to the post-Cold War order. It signals Ankara's desire to play a leading role in a more multipolar world, where power is shared among many centers rather than dominated by the West. Western capitals are divided. Some policymakers understand Turkey's frustration and see its pivot as a logical response to years of exclusion. Others, however, worry that Turkey's new direction could undermine NATO's unity and weaken the Western alliance at a critical time. For Erdogan, the promise of new markets, greater global influence, and a more independent foreign policy now outweighs the endless wait outside Europe's gates. Turkey's pivot from Brussels to BRICS marks a turning point, not just for Ankara, but for the balance of power in the 21st century. To grasp Turkey's pivot, you need to understand BRICS, a bloc that's become a heavyweight in global affairs. Originally an investment term, BRICS now unites Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, representing nearly half the world's population and over a third of global GDP. The group has built its own institutions, like the new development bank, to rival Western-led financial systems. BRICS isn't just rhetoric, it's building a parallel infrastructure for the global South. The bloc's power lies in its economic clout and control over resources, making it a key player in shaping global narratives. For countries like Turkey, BRICS offers a platform to challenge the Western-dominated order and amplify their voice. In 2024, BRICS expanded dramatically, welcoming Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the UAE. This marked a significant shift in the geopolitical landscape, as these nations brought with them unique resources, strategic locations, and diverse cultures. The inclusion of these countries was not just a symbolic gesture but a strategic move to enhance the bloc's global influence. This move boosted the bloc's influence in energy markets and strategic regions. With Egypt controlling the Suez Canal, a critical maritime route, and the UAE being a major player in the oil market, BRICS's energy dynamics were significantly strengthened. Ethiopia and Iran also added to the bloc's strategic depth, offering new avenues for economic and political collaboration. Then, in 2025, Indonesia joined, adding demographic and economic heft. As the world's fourth most populous country and a growing economic powerhouse, Indonesia's membership brought a new dimension to BRICS. Its inclusion underscored the bloc's commitment to representing diverse and emerging economies. The expansion signals BRICS's ambition to be a truly global coalition, representing Asia, Africa, South America, and the Middle East. This diverse representation aims to challenge the dominance of traditional Western powers and create a more balanced global order. But the process is selective. Turkey, for example, remains on the waiting list. Despite its strategic importance and economic potential, Turkey's membership is still under consideration, reflecting the careful and deliberate approach BRICS takes in its expansion. Each new member is chosen to balance the interests of core members, especially China and India. The inclusion of new countries must align with the strategic goals of these major players, ensuring that the bloc remains cohesive and effective. The bloc's diversity, democracies, authoritarian states, theocracies, brings both power and internal challenges. This mix of governance styles can lead to differing priorities and approaches, making consensus building a complex task. Managing these differences will test BRICS' ability to act collectively. The success of the bloc will depend on its ability to navigate these internal dynamics while presenting a united front on the global stage. Its success now depends on forging consensus among an increasingly complex membership. As BRICS continues to grow, its ability to integrate new members and harmonize their interests will be crucial in shaping its future role in global affairs. Turkey's BRICS bid is a calculated move with global implications. For Ankara, membership would validate its ambition to be an independent power, bridging East and West. As a NATO country, Turkey's inclusion would be a symbolic coup for BRICS, challenging old alliances. Its military strength and control of key straits would add hard power to the bloc. But NATO membership complicates things. Can Turkey balance commitments to both sides? Despite risks, Ankara sees economic incentives, new markets, investment and less reliance on the US dollar. Erdogan is betting Turkey can navigate between Washington, Brussels, Beijing and Moscow to become indispensable in a new world order. Turkey's push for full BRICS membership was met with a polite but firm rejection. Instead, Ankara was offered partner status, a consolation prize it quickly refused. The main roadblocks? India and China. China fears admitting a NATO member could dilute BRICS' anti-Western focus and introduce Western influence. India's opposition is personal. Turkey's support for Pakistan and criticism over Kashmir have soured relations. BRICS decisions require consensus, so resistance from India and China was enough to block Turkey. The official pause on expansion was a diplomatic way to close the door, at least for now. Entry into BRICS is as much about politics and rivalries as it is about economics. Tensions between India and Turkey have escalated from diplomatic spats to strategic rivalry. Turkey's vocal support for Pakistan on Kashmir has made it a pariah in New Delhi. Accusations of Turkish military support for Pakistan further inflamed Indian anger. The fallout hit business. Indian authorities targeted Turkish companies, and calls for boycotts grew. Prime Minister Modi's visit to Cyprus was a pointed diplomatic jab at Ankara. For India, blocking Turkey's BRICS bid was both strategic and punitive. Unless Turkey changes its stance on Pakistan and Kashmir, BRICS membership remains out of reach. Turkey's BRICS ambitions also drew a sharp response from the US. Washington sees BRICS as a threat to the US-led order, especially under a possible second Trump term. Trump threatened massive tariffs on BRICS nations and any country aligning with them. For Turkey, deeply tied to Western markets, these threats were sobering. Erdogan values his relationship with Trump and wasn't willing to risk economic retaliation. Rejecting BRICS partner status was a pragmatic move to avoid a direct clash with Washington. Turkey now faces a stark choice: pursue independence and risk Western ties, or remain within the US orbit. Indonesia's admission to BRICS in 2025, while Turkey was sidelined, speaks volumes about the shifting priorities and strategies of emerging global alliances. This decision was not just a matter of diplomatic preference, but a clear signal of the kind of members BRICS wants to attract as it grows in influence and ambition. Indonesia, with its long-standing policy of non-alignment and its avoidance of binding military alliances, presented itself as an ideal candidate for the bloc. Its foreign policy has consistently emphasized independence and balance, making it a low-risk, stable addition to BRICS. This approach has allowed Indonesia to maintain good relations with both Western and Eastern powers, while also pursuing its own national interests. The inclusion of Indonesia demonstrates that BRICS is prioritizing countries that can contribute to the group's stability and cohesion, rather than those with complex geopolitical entanglements. In contrast, Turkey's deep ties to NATO and its ongoing disputes with both the West and regional neighbors made its candidacy far more complicated. We are witnessing a profound transformation in the global order. The world is moving away from the dominance of a single superpower and towards a more multipolar system where influence is distributed among several major blocs. BRICS, with its growing membership and economic clout, is emerging as a visible and credible counterweight to the traditional Western-led institutions like the G7. In this new, fragmented landscape, middle powers such as Turkey find themselves at a crossroads. They are presented with fresh opportunities to assert their interests, but also face heightened risks As alliances shift and old certainties dissolve, navigating this environment requires agility, strategic vision, and sometimes, difficult choices. Turkey's journey is emblematic of these changes. Once a hopeful candidate for EU membership, Turkey now finds itself rebuffed by both the European Union and, more recently, by BRICS. Its application to join BRICS was rejected, highlighting the challenges it faces in finding a secure place within the evolving global order. Now Turkey stands at a pivotal moment. Its next move is uncertain. Should it make another attempt to join BRICS, work to repair its strained ties with the West, or perhaps chart an entirely new, independent path that reflects its unique position between continents and cultures? The Turkish dilemma is not just a national issue, but a microcosm of the broader challenge facing the world today. As the old rules of international relations fade and new ones are written, countries everywhere must adapt to a rapidly changing landscape, one where power is more diffuse, alliances are less predictable, and the future remains uncertain.